You probably heard of the wise words often quoted in rugby. I first heard them at a wedding. My name is Arya, 30 years old. My husband Oliver is 32. Oliver and I met for a club rugby team at our company. I was the team manager and Oliver was a player. I first met Oliver's sister Scarlett back when Oliver and I were just dating, about 4 years ago. Even though it was a company team, family members often came to watch our games and joined us for the celebrations afterward. It was at one such celebration where Oliver introduced me to Scarlett.
This is my sister, Scarlett.
Nice to meet you. Oliver has told me so much about you, but her gaze seemed to scrutinize me from head to toe.
Nice to meet you too. I look forward to getting to know you, I replied energetically.
Oliver, laughing, wrapped an arm around my shoulder. Scarlett will get along well with Arya. She's 2 years older, so it's like having another big sister.
Scarlett smiled and said, "Yes, nice to meet you."
But her probing gaze lingered. At that celebration, Scarlett came up to me, beer in hand, and asked, "Why would you want to be a manager?" Her tone shifted from formal to informal, and her voice is a little lower, and it sounded almost provocative. Well, I was taken aback by her sudden change in attitude. Was Scarlett drunk? Her face wasn't flushed, and her words were clear.
Isn't it obvious that managers are supposed to be pretty? Are you okay in the head doing this with your looks?
Yeah, I was speechless.
Just being a manager to attract guys, and you ended up snagging Oliver. Poor guy, she muttered before walking away.
I was stunned and couldn't respond.
Liam, long time no see. It's Scarlett. Later, I heard her cheerful voice.
I could bring myself to tell Oliver about the confrontation. I thought that no one would want to hear bad things about their family members. A year later, Oliver and I got married. And I left the company to become a housewife.
At our wedding, Scarlett approached me when I was alone and said, "Plain-looking people always marry early. Getting married at this age is so lame. I still want to have fun."
Since then, Scarlett started attending every game and joined the after-parties, often commenting, "Maybe I should start looking for a husband here, even with my looks."
Often commenting, "Maybe I should start looking for a husband here, even with my looks."
She was undeniably beautiful, but her words were frustrating. "Didn't you say you wanted to have fun?" Torted.
She smiled slyly. "Sure, I want to have fun, but maybe I'll marry if I find a really good man. Don't compare me to a desperate plain Jane like you."
3 years later, I received a wedding invitation from Scarlett. So the playtime's over, and settling down is the plan now, I thought. The ceremony starts at 2 p.m.? Odd timing, huh? I thought wedding receptions were about having a meal. Why such an awkward time? Anyway, I showed the invitation we received to Oliver.
But I already told Scarlett I'm on a business trip to New Orleans that day. I mentioned I'd be traveling then, but the wedding is on November 11th, right? It's a Sunday. Plus, it's a significant day for them. The day they met, and also their dating anniversary. So they can't change it.
Well, it's a special day for them.
Right. So probably they had a prior booking and couldn't get their preferred time.
I see. I guess that's part of the situation. While thinking that, I still felt uneasy about the timing of the event. It was 2 weeks later.
Jack from the rugby team, Oliver's friend, came to visit, saying, "Long time no see, Arya."
As I made tea, Jack started saying I just need to vent a bit. Being a manager and a venting outlet for the team members was part of the job. When I was the manager, I used to listen to Jack's complaints quite often. And now he's bringing his troubles to me, who's left both the job and the manager position. What could it be about? Maybe an injury or something. I started to worry. "What's up? It's been a while, hasn't it?" I served some cookies.
Jack sat in the living room, looked at the cookies for a while, and said, "Say, Arya, if I eat this cookie and we have a fight, would you ask me to give it back?"
What is he talking about? Well, once it's in your stomach... I mean, what's the point in returning stomach acid, right? I replied.
Right. That makes sense," Jack murmured.
"Wait, what are you talking about?" I'm lost here, I blurted out.
"It's about your husband's sister, you know?
Oh, you mean Scarlett, who's getting married?
Yeah, that's right," Jack said.
That's when I heard an incredible story. "You're dating?" I exclaimed in shock.
I exclaimed in shock.
Yeah, and now I've been invited to the wedding. Jack replied, well, you're in the same sports club, so it's not like you can just not go.
Ah, you're invited by William, the groom, huh?
Yeah, William and I are from the same batch.
So, Scarlett was cheating on you with William, a teammate, and now she's leaving you to marry him?
No. Then he said, I found out about their marriage from Scarlett a week before the wedding invitation arrived. I had no idea she was dating William. So she cheated on me with a teammate, which was shocking. But what's more shocking is when she told me about the marriage. She also said she wanted to continue our relationship, like she's marrying William, but her heart belongs to me.
I dropped my cup of tea in shock.
Yeah, I know, right? That's exactly how it is.
I hurriedly fetched a towel, but I couldn't digest the situation.
Wait a minute. That sounds like an invitation to continue the affair.
That's the thing. William is a good guy, and I want to keep playing rugby with him. You know, the one-for-all thing. Sure, the affair was a problem. But if I keep quiet, not only William but everyone else can stay happy and oblivious. So I decided to keep our relationship a secret and not blame her for the affair, for William's sake.
Yeah.
Jack is carrying the secret alone for everyone's sake. That's just too sad for him. The thought made the freshly brewed tea feel nauseating, but something I heard was bothering me.
But that doesn't explain the cookie analogy.
Yeah, that's actually what I came to talk about today.
The story he told me next was even more astonishing, and I ended up spitting out my tea.
Jack said, last Christmas, she told me she had prepared a special Christmas present.
And then she gave him a Tag Heuer watch. Well, it's not as expensive as Rolex, but it's still a pretty costly adult gift. But then, when Jack tried to break up, she got mad and demanded, "Then give me back the watch I gave you last Christmas?"
That's petty.
Not just petty, she even asked for the box and manual back. It's an expensive watch, so I still had them and gave them back.
But
And then around the time the wedding invitation arrived, William started doing this.
Whoosh! At that moment I accidentally spit out my tea. Tea in my nose hurt.
that's terrible. Just too terrible.
Yeah,
Jack says just hearing him out is enough, but I think this isn't something to just let slide. It's outright disrespectful to the groom, and more so.
I thought we had broken up for good, but then Scarlett messaged me on WhatsApp saying, I still love you, and teen saying, let's meet after the honeymoon. He showed me the screen of his mobile phone.
I can't block her, right? She's Oliver's sister, and he's the captain. Jack looked completely lost.
Maybe we should talk to Oliver about this?
I suggested impulsively.
No, it's fine. One for all and all that.
One for all. At this point, it doesn't matter.
Or, since Oliver will be away on a business trip that day, maybe you don't need to go. The timing is awkward anyway. The ceremony at 2 p.m., reception at 3. You won't even be hungry for dinner. Just say you caught a cold or something.
Huh?
Jack looked stern.
What are you talking about? The wedding is at 11, and the reception starts at noon.
What? My voice flipped in surprise.
Look, I always take photos of important events because I don't trust just putting them in my schedule.
He showed me a photo on his mobile phone. It was indeed at 11, but my invitation says. I showed Jack the invitation on my fridge from Scarlett.
What?
Jack was speechless.
See?
To do this to you?
Jack set down his cup of tea. It had gone cold.
I thought I was doing this for one for all.
Jack murmured in a hoarse voice.
That woman is all for herself.
I cut straight to the point.
You say it's for William's sake, but can someone as selfish as Scarlett really be a good wife for him?
No, I mean, it's one thing for me, but I can't stand her tricking someone like you, who's been so kind.
To tolerate it for oneself, but not for others. Jack and I both felt that way, so we started to plan. Our strategy meeting went on until that night. The teapot filled to the brim was now empty. Now, on the day of the wedding, I left home at 13:30 to be there on time. If I thought it was starting at 14, it would be the perfect timing. Yes, I deliberately matched Scarlett's false timing. Knowing the correct time from Jack, I could have confronted Scarlett, or just attended at the right time, saying, it seems like there was a mistake in the invitation time. but I chose to play along. This was the plan Jack and I had come up with. So when the staff said the ceremony starts at 11, reception at noon, I feigned surprise. Oh my, what a shock, and had the staff open the door for me.
Oh my, what a shock. And had the staff open the door for me. Everyone was looking at me. There in the back, Scarlett showed a twisted smile. A smile that said, "Finally you're here, time to embarrass you." Then Scarlett, the bride, stood up with a microphone in hand. Arya, my brother's wife, has just arrived, the late guest. Naturally, all eyes were on me, dressed in a plain suit. Scarlett was beaming. But I'll apologize on behalf of my brother's wife. I'm so sorry for her uncouthness on such an important day. She's an inelegant sister-in-law, but I hope we can get along. So that's what she wanted to do. Make me look bad to make herself look good. I walked straight up to Scarlett from the door I entered and snatched the microphone from her with a swift move. A howling sound erupted. Then, turning my back to Scarlett, I took a deep breath. Time to say it. Hello, everyone. The Uncouth brothers' wife here. I arrived exactly at the time stated on the invitation, but now I'm the rude one. Which makes me wonder if the invitation itself was rude. Huh? Invitation time? The crowd began to murmur, but that's not the main point. After a pause, I blurted out suddenly, "Let me introduce the real groom." What? Scarlett froze. So did everyone else. They probably couldn't understand what I was talking about in this situation. The true groom, Jack. Everyone turned to look. Jack stood up. I walked confidently towards him, then stand next to Jack. "Jack, when did your relationship start?" "A year and a half ago," Jack answered into the mic. "Oh, and how about the groom?" "William," I asked William standing next to Jack. William looked at Scarlett, flustered. Scarlett's demeanor had completely changed from her earlier triumphant mode. She was grinding her teeth like a wolf glaring at us. "William, since when?" He had to answer, or the situation wouldn't settle. William, still flustered, grabbed a nearby mic. "1 year ago today." "Well then, it's hard to tell who should be the groom," I said. No matter what her expression was, I wouldn't let her off. "Be prepared." I ignored Scarlett and continued. "Free love before marriage is one thing, but continuing a relationship based on infidelity like this? What do you think about that? Especially since she's still sending WhatsApp messages to the real groom here, wanting to meet. I've printed screenshots of those WhatsApp messages, especially since she is still sending messages to the real groom here, wanting to meet. I printed screenshots of those messages. You can each take one later, from the table near the entrance where I came in."
I pointed to a table near the entrance, piled with papers. Copies of the WhatsApp screenshots that Jack received, saying things like, "I still love you," and "Let's meet after the honeymoon." 100 copies. I printed 100, not knowing how many guests there were. He pointed at it.
That's, Jack. What's that supposed to mean?
William's voice trembled.
Sorry, I started dating her first, and I didn't know about Scarlett and William until they decided to marry, so it's not like I took her away. But I thought that an unknown happiness is still happiness, and I alone could just bear it silently. However, a person mean enough to change the time on Arya's invitation isn't someone you can be happy with, William. When I saw Arya's invitation, that's what I thought. William, it's not too late to wake up. As proof, Jack, after all, must really love William as a friend. I could tell that from his compassionate gaze. Jack glanced at the watch William was wearing and gripped the microphone tighter. That Tag Heuer watch. I received it as a Christmas gift last year and wore it until your wedding announcement.
What?
William was speechless.
That's not it, William. This is...
Scarlett's frantic attempts to explain seemed to fall on deaf ears.
You said it was a thanks for marrying me gift?
Hearing this, Jack's face turned stern and he closed his eyes. It was clear Jack was in pain. Perhaps William would have been happier not knowing, but...
"Once you're married, the only private time you get is in the bathroom. It's better to reveal such a deceitful wife now, for the sake of Jack's dear friend."
I slapped Jack's back firmly. Jack opened his eyes and looked back.
"Well done, Jack. You did great."
I patted his back.
Don't joke around. Don't believe her. The liar is this woman.
Scarlett pointed at me and began to rant.
An invitation with a different time for just one person? As if I could pull off such a thing?
This question was expected.
Look here,
I held up my invitation next to Jack's.
the time on Jack's is correct. But look, mine says 2 p.m. Showing the actual items is more convincing. The real thing is strong, yet Scarlet continued to feign ignorance.
So Arya must have tampered with it. To frame me. Not true. Then show evidence that I deliberately did it. You're good at deceiving people, Arya. After all, you seduced my brother to be a manager.
It's weird. You're not even cute enough to be a manager. You must have been targeting my brother from the start.
Stop it!
William's voice, previously timid, now had a strong presence.
Stop speaking ill of Arya.
Scarlet fell silent at his intensity.
Do you think a manager is just a mascot girl? Being a manager means washing dirty, sweaty uniforms, carrying several 2-liter water jugs, preparing dozens of sandwiches, providing first aid for injuries. We've often been grateful to Arya for supporting us behind the scenes. She managed all our schedules diligently. Arya wouldn't get the time wrong, let alone create a fake invitation. Don't call her unattractive or say she seduced anyone. I won't allow anyone to speak ill of my benefactor.
The hall went silent, but I felt happy. Jack always thanked me, but William the groom was a quiet guy. For him to express his gratitude to me so openly was more than I could ask for.
But I made him all the same. Stop this accusation.
Scarlet continued to shout. Then Arya didn't tamper with the invitation. The door on the side I entered opened.
I got someone to cover my business trip, and I came at the time on the invitation we received at home. It was Oliver.
Oliver,
His arrival was unexpected, and I expressed my surprise.
Sorry, Arya. I had to tell the captain. He's the most reliable, so I just went for it.
End it here, William. One for all for one. If Jack has to suffer for this happiness, then its end is already in sight. I apologize for Scarlet's behavior, but, William, you should be married in a way that brings happiness and blessings from everyone, including Jack and the entire team. And Scarlet, don't take advantage of my business trip to set up my wife. Wishing for someone else's unhappiness will never bring you any happiness.
I looked at Jack standing beside me.
you did good, Jack.
Jack was crying.
Captain always comes through.
Saying this, Jack ran towards Oliver. Everyone from the rugby team who had been invited rushed to William.
All right, let's go.
Oliver raised his voice.
One for all for one. William, this time, find true happiness.
And so, somewhat bizarrely, the gathering ended. The gathering ended with William being piggybacked away. Scarlet stood to the side, slumped in defeat. What happened after that? Well, the marriage was immediately annulled, of course.
Scarlet was scolded harshly and even disowned by Oliver's parents for being spoiled and indulged.
Moreover, Scarlet's boss and colleagues from her company were at the wedding and began to look at her coldly, leading her to resign on her own accord. As for William, he later started dating and eventually married the manager who succeeded me. Jack, on the other hand, started dating someone at a team-organized barbecue. When she said she wanted them to wear matching items, Jack requested anything but a watch.
Leading her to give him a Minnie Mouse plush keychain, which he now attaches to his computer bag.
A rugby player's bag with a Minnie Mouse keychain. How endearing.
It almost seemed like I could hear someone singing. Attraction and differences. I think it's cute, I said to Jack.
Jack, tugging on the Minnie Mouse's ear, laughed and replied, "Yeah, I guess so. I like that she's gentle and calm. Just the kind of person I need."